I cannot believe we are here. Welcome to the Grit and Grace podcast with Dr. Lori Dottie. I kind of can't, I can believe it and I can't believe that we've made it to, and I want to take a second to thank you guys for being here because whether this is your first time listening or you've been with me from the beginning of this endeavor, I really appreciate you spending time with me each week. I started this podcast because I saw too many women who were struggling with the same things that I had struggled with for years, feeling stuck in their bodies, frustrated by weight that won't budge, being exhausted by doing diet after diet, getting to this midlife stage in life and not being able to feel like you are succeeding at it. And I knew the conversation had to change around those issues. So I thought long and hard about what did I want to do for this episode. And then in fact, I am late in recording it because I have thought long and hard about it. And here's what I want to do. I want to share with you today something that has completely transformed my own journey. And it's also changed the journey and the lives of every woman that I have coached. And once you hear this, I think it's going to change the way you approach everything too. Your weight, your health, your career, your happiness. And what that is, that magic thing is, it's not magical, but it's a success formula that I wanted to share with you today that is transformational. Once you understand this, you can apply it to literally anything you want to achieve in life. And the formula is this. It's going to sound really simple, but stick with me here. It's be, do, have. But here's the problem with that success formula, and I'm going to break it down for you. Most people get this formula completely backwards. And that's why they stay stuck, because they use this formula in the have, do, be format. Again, stick with me here and I'll explain. So here's the big mistake. Most women think if I had the body I want, then I'd do all the right things. I'd work out, I'd eat healthy, and I'd finally be happy and comfortable in my clothes and confident, right? Sound familiar, right? And you can apply this to other areas in life too. It's the same way people think about relationships, for example. It's the same way that people think about money. You name it, okay? If I had more time, I'd do the workouts and then I'd be fit. If I had a supportive partner, I'd do what it takes to build a relationship, a great relationship, and then we or I'd be happy. The problem is that's completely backwards. And that backwards way of thinking is how so many of us, me included, for years, that is how we think and that is how we act in our lives. And the truth is, it leads to failure. It leads to disappointment. It leads to starting over. It leads to stalling out. It leads to being stuck and sad and unhappy. Because the truth is, you have to be the kind of woman who takes care of herself first. Be the kind of woman who takes care of herself first. Then you have to consistently do the things, take the actions that create the results you want. And then and only then will you have the body, the energy, the confidence that you desire. Now, let me give you some proof of what I'm talking about and why this works. Think about the happiest, healthiest, most confident, have all her shit together women that you know. And these can be women in your own real life, personally, friends that you know, people at work. It can be people you admire, celebrities, whoever, right? Think about those women. They don't wake up one day suddenly feeling that way. They don't feel that way, that confidence and that comfort because they hit a number on the scale. They don't wake up successful in their careers, right? They're not overnight successes. They became that woman first. And when I say they became that woman first, I don't mean, fake it until you make it. I don't mean faking confidence. I don't mean forcing motivation. That is not what I mean when I say they became that woman first. I mean truly shifting your identity, seeing yourself, talking to yourself, treating yourself differently. When I finally stopped obsessing over my weight, stopped obsessing on that number on the scale, when I stopped doing that, chasing an exact number, right? A goal weight. And instead, I focused on becoming the woman who took care of myself. Guess what happened? The weight came off. Exactly. But not only did it come off, here's the important part, it stayed off. All right. Now, how does this, like, why should you care? How does this apply to your life? This mindset shift frees you because instead of chasing a goal that feels so out of reach, that feels exhausting, you become the woman who naturally achieves those desires, achieves those goals, right? And I am not, let me be super clear. I say this to my clients and women who talk to me about becoming my clients. I'm not a woo-woo guru. This is not about, oh, stand in the mirror and, read these affirmations and tell yourself you have $1 million and you got the promotion at work and you are fit and healthy and you lose weight. It's not about that kind of woo-woo BS. It's about becoming the woman who achieves the goals that you set for yourself rather than chasing them down like a rabid animal that never gets there. All right. So let me ask you something that's really pretty telling. And I think this is kind of like, this is the Lori Love kind of like tough coaching kind of thing that I sometimes do. Ask yourself this honestly, and it will help reveal a lot about where you are in life in terms of this kind of mindset and this kind of achievement, if you will. Ask yourself, am I making decisions as the woman who stays stuck? Or am I making decisions as the woman who is done with the struggle, as the woman who is ready to become the version of herself who succeeds, who wins, who is comfortable in her own skin, who is confident at her weight, who is fit, who has succeeded in what I want personally and from a health perspective, just like succeeded in my educational pursuits, my career pursuits, my goals as a mom, as a good spouse. Which way am I making decisions? Which version of me is running the show? Because here's what I've seen over and over and over again in my own life, full transparency here, and over in women who I help. The women who finally achieve their health, their weight loss goals, their confidence goals, they don't just wish for it. They don't just try harder. They don't continue to pursue old ways of doing things that are not getting them anywhere. No, they spend their time, they spend their energy and effort, and they invest their money differently. They invest in knowledge, in strategy, in support, in guidance, not because they hope this is a quick fix that'll work this time, not because they jump from one fad to the next or whatever is popular, right? But because they believe that their success with their health and their personal desire to feel great, they believe that the success in those things is worth it. That's why they spend their time, their money, their energy, their effort on themselves that way. Bottom line, they do it because they believe they are worth it. Just like they believe their career is worth it, just like they believe the organization who they work for is worth it, just like they believe their family is worth it. They finally believe they are worth it. So here's the real question I want you to sit with today, and why ultimately I settled on this being the episode. Ask yourself, am I ready to be the woman who takes care of myself first? And that tag at the end of that sentence is really important. Don't ask yourself, am I ready to be the woman who takes care of herself? Because you likely are. And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm pretty certain that you are that woman. But are you ready to be the woman who takes care of herself first? Not the woman who waits until Monday, not the woman who waits until my kids are graduated from college, not the woman who waits for motivation to strike, but the woman who decides right now that she is stepping into a new version of herself. Because here's the truth, and it was a cold, hard truth that I had to come face to face with and accept. You don't get what you want. Sorry, we don't. You don't get what you want. You get what you decide to become. Let me say that again. You don't get what you want. Life's not fair. You get what you decide to become. When you decide to become her, whatever her is, that's when you get it. Okay. And so I really hope this episode hit home for you today. I hope that somehow in all of this, it spoke to you about the shift you actually need to make to change your life. And if that's you, I would love to hear from you. Message me on Instagram, shoot me an email, send me a private message on Facebook. Tell me what clicked for you today. Or maybe there's something in here that you're still struggling with. Tell me what that is, and let's chat. And by all means, if you're feeling ready to take the next step and act on that decision to become that woman, you are finally done with waiting and you are ready to start becoming her, I'd love to chat with you about what that can look like for you. And if I can be part of helping you get there. Thank you so much. Again, for spending time with me. I know you're busy. We all have tons of things to do. But thank you so much for spending time with me on this episode and on any episodes maybe before where you found me, and on future episodes when you will turn in. And here's to becoming everything that you were meant to be. See you right back here next time.